Star Wars.
Episode I forgot.
Podcast episode 2.
Welcome to the podcast. Hey everyone, how's it going this time?
Oh,
Yeah.
so we got a new member
Yes.
with us today.
Jumping right into the special feature I see.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want the best gift, the biggest one for first, you know?
But that makes all the other gifts look bad. You gotta lead up to it, you know?
Lead up to it.
So we'd start with you being the least impressive.
Oh!
And then we'd move over to me, and then to
Really?
Kazodok,
Already
and
with the
then-
snappy comments.
And then
I
to
see.
Navarog. Alright, Navarog, why don't you say hello, let everyone know you're here.
Hello, my name's Navarog, and I'm new here.
You're not new here, you just missed last week. Had to
I'm
go
new on the
home
podcast,
early.
though.
New to the podcast.
New to the podcast. Alright, Kaz, what do you got to say about our friend Navarog? Any insights? Is he the coolest?
I don't know. He is here.
If that isn't a ringing endorsement, I don't know what is.
I think that he is a. Okay, I take it back. He's a beginner player. He's on a
Hey.
scale of 1 to 10, I'd say 3 or 4.
You
I'm not a
realize
beginner
that
at all.
Navarog has more experience with tabletop RPGs than you do.
Oh, that's not true. I've
Or
been a part of
you
like
and
3
I
or 4.
combined even.
I've been a part of 3 or 4 different campaigns, and a couple
This
of
guy-
them played every day.
This guy was playing Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 before we even started playing 4.
But that's not fair because he's only played in 1 or 2.
But
Maybe 3.
he's got the experience. So,
Yes.
I played
he's
like 5.
He's our veteran tabletop RPG player here. He sets us all straight.
As
Yeah.
everyone can see, we're extremely experienced and not noobs at all.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So, alright, you might have noticed by now, we've got a missing cast member, Karaku, or I guess you would know him as Tyro Attar. He's not really here this time. He decided to ditch the podcast to go skiing. What a loser.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who chooses to go skiing over spending a night with the coolest people on Earth?
Right? I mean, we are so not noobs and so good at tabletop RPGs. Who would choose not to spend time with us?
Well, I
we
think that
just
there's a
conceded
few
our own
people.
point.
Yeah.
We have 2 people who are here, not because we also have
Rashlear.
Yeah,
Rash Lear.
But
is also not
Rashlear
here.
is sort of on the rocks. We're not even sure he's coming back.
He'll be back in a while. We're gonna give him like a month or so before
I think
we
he's
kill off
planning on
his
coming
character.
back at some point.
We will kill off
in
his
the
character.
meantime, his character has fallen into a mysterious and sudden and dramatic coma.
I thought it was in a crash.
He fell into a coma in a crash, and we can't find his body.
So I just want to explain a little. Where we left off in our last campaign was that they were flying through the tunnels of Kessel, and now they've crashed. And so,
of course we crashed. We had a blind guy flying the ship.
yeah, I wonder where he is. That's something we didn't bring up in the
Okay,
little
so 2
session.
people went missing in the crash. We cannot locate Rashlear, and we cannot locate our blind pilot friend who may or may not have slightly resembled Han Solo.
And my
Maybe
new
a little.
character,
Just a little.
Kaz, was not in this. My character Kaz, but I had a new character called. Oh, what was his name?
Kachuntik?
I'll get the character sheet.
Chuntikuchik? Something like that. He's a Wookiee.
Something very
So,
confusing.
yeah, something very
Shawanka
confusing.
Chunk or something.
Chuanchikang. I can't even say that right. So, what is the name exactly?
Chentichuk.
Chentichuk.
Chentichuk. I can't even do it.
Chentichunk. It's not something that you can
Chuck.
say quickly.
It's Chuck. It's a
Chenti-
joke.
Chentichuk.
It's okay, fine. It's Chuck. Fine.
We'll call him Chuck.
We'll just call him Chucky.
We're gonna call you. You're changing your name. You are no longer Kaz. On the podcast, you will be known as Chuck.
No, it's alright. He can keep the name.
I'll continue to be Kaz because Kaz still exists in this story.
That's right. Kazodok is just presently dodging Mandalorian authorities in a stolen invisible shuttle, trying not to get arrested and brutally murdered.
I really think he should die. It just wouldn't make sense if. And plus, we don't have people die that often.
You
No.
want someone to die just to have someone die?
No, it's just too easy. I mean,
It's too easy.
It is a little bit easy.
Really?
But this new guy, the Chentichuk, we just brought him in.
Chucky.
He's a level 1, and somehow they have survived an entire session.
It was
With
good.
level
There was no
13s
fighting.
and above.
There was
Well,
no
it
fighting.
helped that he cast an illusion to avoid the deadly energy spiders that were going to feed on his body.
He's a Jedi, by the way.
He's a Jedi Padawan? He's a
Yeah,
level 1
He's a
Jedi.
newbie Jedi.
He's a new
Well, I'm
Jedi.
thinking about just leveling him up because it's going to be a pain for him to level up and try and keep up with us if
Yeah,
he's
but that's
starting
how
as
the
level
game
1.
works. He's got to start at level 1.
But that'd be lame because at then some point we're all probably going to die and start new characters, and then we're all going to start like level 1 again.
Yeah, that's how the game works, bro.
But that would be a waste of time. Why would we waste so many sessions when I can level people up like Nevrog here, who had missed like 7 sessions, so he went from being
Yes.
level 2 to level 12.
But
Explain
he still
that.
got the group experience because he was still with us,
Yes, he was passed out in a coma on board the ship's med bay.
and we briefed him.
We briefed him. Okay, so that gives him what, 10,000 experience?
He also learned several wise life lessons from Rashlear.
Oh,
The
that's a
serial
great
killer.
idea.
Yes,
Let's
the
send the
serial killer.
crazy serial killer to go in and teach this guy in a coma life lessons. He probably read him some stories while he was in a coma about, you know,
Read
his
important-
past history, his
Read
like crime
important
rep
Here's
sheet.
Who and other Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah, anything to scare him.
Well, I don't know. If there was a serial killer lizard man standing over my bedside reading the Dr. Seuss books, I'd be scared, you know? Alright then. So we were flying through Kessel, we crashed. We continued to explore because we had to find the planet core. We were already mostly there when we crashed. Somehow the blind pilot man got us that far before he hit a rock.
As opposed to the disposable pilot.
The disposable pilot guy somehow survived.
Well,
Hey,
the
no, no,
disposable
no.
pilot
He's in a
wasn't
different
here.
story.
Different story.
So we.
This is going to be confusing. Blind
But we
pilot
already-
and disposable pilot.
Well, we're not mentioning blind pilot guy again. See, blind pilot guy is gone. He's missing.
He's
we're not
blind
mentioning him
guy.
again. He's blind.
That everyone thinks is Han Solo.
Disposable pilot guy is still alive.
Everyone thinks he's Han Solo. I never gave you hints one way or the other. You just assumed that because he was a spacer and he was on prison.
So,
that
let's put
he
together the
must
facts
be
here.
Han Solo.
He was, let's put this together. He was running by Kessel, which, as we all know, he was, the famous Kessel run and whatnot. And also the fact that he was used to the fact of being out of carbon freezer, or whatever you call it, before. He had done it before and
So
gotten
the
unfrozen.
reason he is blind is because he
Yeah,
was
he's
carbon
also a pilot. And he's one of the best. So
Did Han Solo ever crash?
He didn't try to pilot
he
when
wasn't
was
trying
blind.
to blind pilot here.
You have little faith. Okay, I would wager that if Han Solo were blind, he could still outfly most pilots.
Good point.
Yeah, see?
I could outpilot you with like a blindfold on though.
Maybe your character could. My character's a confidence artist, not a pilot.
Okay, let's put the facts together. You are like really old. I'm not naming any years here, but I am like 4 years younger than you. And I'm kind of
So
feeling I
I'm-
know a bit more about driving than you do.
I'm really old. You're 4 years younger. Does that make you just old? Or does that still include you in the really old category?
Are we talking
Yeah,
about in
that's
real
what I
life?
thought.
Are we
Yeah.
talking about real life or the game now?
He was trying to make a real life reference, which is forbidden on my podcast
Forbidden.
by me. So,
You are not the host tonight.
In real
Yes,
life,
I am
I'm
the
about
host.
to eat Cheetos.
The mic is pointed at me. I am the host.
No, let's put it right there. That's not you.
So we went exploring in the tunnels. We got to the planet core. We found the giant computer. We found the bogies. By the way, that's what those light thingies were. They were called bogies.
Really?
Yeah, you just didn't understand the language on the computers to know what they were called.
And
Those
Chentichuk
We got to the.
always pushed all the buttons on the machine, having no idea what
Okay,
it was.
to
He
explain this
almost
here,
started the self-destruct sequence.
They got to the core of the planet, and then some great Wookiee idea here was, let's just press all the buttons on this big floating machine in the core of the planet.
Yeah, that was not your smartest idea.
Plus, I got a little bit confused because the orbs were flying around, but when you were flying around the ceiling, gravity wasn't changing around you because that was the center of the planet.
Yes. You don't imagine that a planet with a giant computer machine at its core would not have some sort of artificial gravity so that people could operate it without falling into a singularity?
With that much gravity already put on them, I wouldn't assume anything.
If it's a core of a planet, there wouldn't be a cavern for natural causes. It would have compressed until it was the most dense rock on the planet.
Also, something I want to point out, that the computer screens on this central computer in the middle were showing pictures of, past hints toward what's the place that we were searching for?
The
Sinkhole Station.
Sinkhole Station.
Yeah.
There were pictures of ancient drawings of Sinkhole Station. There was like 40 different ones of them. And then,
He deleted some.
yeah, he deleted some. And then got some ancient language and put that on there instead. But also decided, you know what, I'm just going to keep pressing buttons. And then a picture of the Maw showed up.
And that was when he made the connection that in one of the paintings, Sinkhole Station is surrounded by these black spots. And so he gets to the picture of the Maw and he thinks, well, there are a lot of black spots there. There are black spots in this picture. Sinkhole Station must be in the Maw.
And you realize that Chintichuk pushing all these buttons is the one that's actually pushing the buttons, even though he doesn't know anything about what's going on.
Yeah,
So
no,
you owe everything you've concluded from Chintichuk's random button pushing.
I guess that means we have to keep the crazy Wookiee Jedi with us a little bit longer.
No, don't keep the Wookiee.
We had a funny moment there where we had to figure out a way to get off the planet. Our shuttle has crashed, and we're in the core of the planet. There's really no way out for us. It would be kilometers and kilometers of hiking to get out. So instead we decided, well, hey, if the Wookiee is in fact a Sith, because we'd noticed at this point he had a lightsaber, then we just explain that we're on a mission from the Sith and he takes us with him. If he's a Jedi, we just explain that our shuttle has crashed and that we're going to die here if he doesn't help us, and his Jedi sensibilities will force him to save us. So we let him know that our shuttle was crashed, and he was like, oh yeah, you can come with me. So rather than
They were
assuming that he
speaking
was...
in Huttese, by the way, so he doesn't understand them.
Yeah, he speaks Shriwook and understands Basic. Navarog over there speaks Basic and Huttese and understands Shriwook, so they can talk. But Reddy can understand Huttese and Basic and speak both. So Navarog's over here having a conversation with the Wookiee, and then having a conversation with Reddy, and they're completely incompatible. They have no idea what the other is saying.
I was surprised that Navrog didn't go to talk in Huttese and just starts talking in Shiruk or
Most species can't actually talk in Shriwook. They can only understand it. It requires the specific mouth orifices of the Wookiees.
so basically he would actually have talked a little bit in Basic instead of Huttese.
That could have been embarrassing if you decided to speak in Basic instead of Huttese. What if he finds out about our secret Sith mission?
You were saying that, and I said, are you speaking in Basic? And then they suddenly said, oh no, we're speaking in Huttese.
After we checked the list real fast to figure out, what language do we both know that he does not?
Well, they don't necessarily
Huttese.
know that he doesn't speak Huttese, it's just less likely.
It's true. This guy could have understood every word that we said, at which point I think we're pretty dang screwed.
Yeah, he'd just say, okay, go get in the cargo bay, lock the cargo bay, hop in the ship, and fly away.
And then
You
jettison
wake
the
up,
cargo
you
and-
come out, and you come out, and you're just on Coruscant or something.
Oh boy.
That would be bad.
Yeah, we don't ever want to go back to Coruscant, thanks.
They open the door and you're back on Kessel, but you're in one of the facilities that was invented air,
So
and they're being captured and put as prisoners, and they're being sold as slaves or being put in front of the Jedi Council for acts of Sithism or whatever it's called.
For worshipping Sith, we sentence you to 5 years of meditation.
5 years of meditation, everybody. Let's do it right now.
No.
Oh.
No. So, that was essentially the summation of our session tonight. But I did want to ask a few questions this time. Navarog, you weren't around last week, so I'm just going to ask you, what did you think of our campaign so far? Are you enjoying it? Having
Yes,
fun?
I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
You're enjoying it thoroughly. All right.
Yes.
Are there anything that you would like to see in the campaign that is not already there?
Probably more weapons and armor since I don't have much right now.
So inventory type gear, weapons and armor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Are there any locales, story twists, places you want to go, people you want to see, stuff you want to blow up?
Oh, can we blow up Kessel? That would be amazing.
We already
I'd
blew up the
probably
Jedi
see-
Temple. Shh.
I probably
Phone,
want to see
phone alert. Everybody, office phone.
We're gonna have to edit this part out.
No, we are not editing this part out. They did it in all the other podcasts I've ever seen.
Fine,
So,
well,
he's gone for a second. I'm going to ask a couple of questions.
wait, should I answer that one question though?
Oh, yeah. What else did you want to include?
I want to maybe include some of the characters from the movies.
You want characters from the movies. Well, this would be past episode 6, so if you wanted to include the
Nearly-
characters from the movies.
I think it's a little bit more than 20 years after Return of the Jedi.
If you wanted something like that, the blind guy could turn out to be Han Solo, just for the sake that you just said that.
I'm not
would be
gonna
fun.
change the story just because someone said, "Hey, I'd like to see more Han Solo," or it turns out that the Wookiee character Kachuntik's grandfather was Chewbacca's uncle, or something like that.
Hey, we're
that's-
related
that
by
reminds me of
blood.
something we forgot to say. The Wookiee Jedi that they murdered
On
several
Coruscant.
sessions ago was Chintachuk's brother.
Yeah, we were gonna keep quiet about that. None of us
He
were
doesn't
actually
know they-
directly involved in that. That was all Rash Lear, and he's missing.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah, well,
blew up his head.
Let's keep quiet
And
about that part.
Off.
well, Reddy was there. He was fighting sort
He
of.
was fighting this.
Nevrog just got, knocked out, incapacitated.
Neverog wasn't there.
Yeah, Neverog was there. He just got hit in the face with a...
So neither of the people
block.
who's really that important was involved, but you were still involved.
Everyone
with the
important
movie.
except for Nevrog.
Although
Wow, thanks.
Pilot and Kaz were there, and they,
Yeah.
but they're not here yet anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss Kaz. Come back to me.
Your character and Kaz are the ones on the mission.
Oh, that's right. We are in the shuttle waiting to take off from that planet in the Mandalorian system. I don't even-
Concord
So,
Dawn.
We
One
need
thing
to
that I
figure out where
think
we're going to go or
should
what
be
we're going
done
to do.
One thing that you think should be done.
Is it seems that it's been kind of easy up until this point. And
Yeah,
we
I'm
haven't
for
had
difficulty.
anyone die. I know this sounds weird, but it's like if you don't have any deaths, and it just kind of there's no danger involved.
Reddy should die.
You can
You've
create
got
a-
a billion more characters up your
I have
sleeve.
NPCs. Reddy is my only character.
Yes, but that means you could transform an NPC into a playable character.
Who am I gonna play? You don't
Blind
have any
Pilot?
ideas. That extended...
Blind Pilot. You've already got a few Sith characters. And what else do we got here? We've got
The
some
Sith are all
Mandalorians. We've got tons of options for you. And you want to keep this Toydarian. This unique
Toydarian is my favorite character. Since we played Dungeons and Dragons 4, and I played the Antobian Sorcerer, whose name escapes me at the moment, ever since I played him, I have longed to play a miniature character who plays a minor role in contributing to the group, and the rest of the time is cowardly and really just unhelpful. And then I got this chance to play that with this Toydarian confidence artist who's completely unhelpful.
Con artist, you mean?
Yeah.
Confidence artist? What's a confidence artist?
Well, it's like someone who scams you by selling you a watch that's not a real watch.
So that's the same as a con artist.
Yeah, that confidence artist is the long version. Con artist is the short version.
Okay.
So yeah, he's a confidence artist. So he's awesome like that.
So anyone listening to this, if that is the wrong definition of con artist, I really want to know. And we just had a huge spill of soda on the floor.
Yes!
It
Wow.
appears.
I just handed out sodas, and I just mixed them up and handed one randomly to each person, and I shaked one or two of them up.
I know because I can feel the pressure in mine. That's why I'm not opening it.
Yeah.
So
Luckily, I had one before.
you'll notice before we started playing tabletop RPGs together, Kaz Odak over there, he was something of a Mountain Dew addict. Our friend Rashlear was a worse Mountain Dew addict, but
You don't know how much Mountain Dew I was drinking before.
Okay, yeah.
Converting.
No, I don't know how much he was drinking before, but once we started hanging out, he started bringing
Clean that
Mountain Dew. And now I can't get through the day without at least having one Mountain Dew. Even if it's just a 12-ounce can, it's impossible. They sucked me in. Now I too have a drinking problem.
Yes.
And we can all blame the popular Kaz.
Kaz Odoc,
So
we appreciate the soda.
This
that you
drink is
contribute.
for you.
This one's to you. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. You wanted to see more characters from the Star Wars universe.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any ideas in particular? Do you want to see a specific character or just
Oh, I want to meet Palpatine.
he's dead?
Probably characters from
A
the
clone
movies
of
that are still
Palpatine.
alive.
Okay, that's a good idea. Let's meet some characters who are still alive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or we could always meet a ghost. You know, me and the Chunka Chuck dude can see ghosts because we're Jedi.
Chunka.
Chunky!
Chuck.
Chunky Chuck. I'm gonna
Chunky
call you
Chuck.
Chunky. Chunky.
Okay.
Chunky. Chunky.
Well, this one went downhill fast. Let's.
Chunky.
Let's-
Chunky.
Okay. So let me ask, just general impressionism. Do you guys like going to planets that are only mentioned in the books that you've never encountered before, or would you rather go to more locations from the movies?
I would like to go to a lot more Outer Rim worlds. They were mentioned in the movies, but somewhat in the books too.
Okay.
I'm happy with whatever we're going to as long as it's an interesting place. It doesn't matter too much whether it's. So I've been happy with everywhere we've been going.
You've been happy with Concord Dawn and Mandalore, and what other planets have you been to? Dathomir. You've been to Mechas 3, I believe.
Where we acted like idiots in front of what's his name?
Lando
Yes,
Calrissian.
Lando Calrissian.
I love acting like an idiot in front of, popular movie characters.
I think that's your hobby right there, is act like an idiot in front of important people.
Let's do this! Where's the president? I gotta go shake his hand and say I've got a bomb in my purse.
Honestly, I think Kaz and Disposable Pilot should have died where they. I mean, it made sense.
If we did die back there when we confronted Boba Fett, I would not have been surprised. I would have
threw
I
a
would have
huge
thrown a fit. And I would have thrown a fit, and I would have created a new character, and he would have been just like my old one, except for less stupid.
You threw a huge fit
Yeah.
when Karaku tried to kill you.
Honestly,
I did throw a fit because I do not like it when my characters die. I get emotionally attached.
Those were fun characters, but honestly, I kind of want them to die just because they.
Whoa!
fulfill
You
their
want to kill Kaz? I
Yes.
love that guy.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna have a Star Destroyer that's patrolling the Mandalorian sector and
No,
countering
Death
the
Star.
shuttle,
Death Star.
or a Death Star, and it's just gonna blow you up.
Just blow up all of Mandalore. Let's do it.
Okay.
Even the Empire is not stupid enough to declare war on Mandalore.
Just, dude, most of the
If you
Mandalorians
blow
are on the
up
planets.
all of Mandalore, there
If
are
you
gonna
blow up
be a
all
ton
the
left.
planets in the
There are
Mandalorian
all
systems.
sorts of- Did you ever read the Star Wars Legacy series?
No, I did not read the Legacy series. I did read the X-Wing Squadron series, though.
All it takes is one Mandalorian to avenge an entire species.
Well, we all know that from, KOTOR and whatnot. You got those Mandalorians that were there, and all it took was that one that was on your crew all the time to go through and avenge your entire their entire species by going through and, killing off a ton of Sith and other things like that.
So, now then, if you do want more canon characters
And more canon planets.
and slightly more canon planets,
And more nature. That's something I'm keeping.
can you name one Star Wars planet? That's about what I thought. Can you name?
I didn't mean that kind of nature. I meant animals.
Can you name 3 Star Wars animals?
Yeah.
Go.
Crate Dragon, Bantha, and my all-time favorite Rancor.
All right, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But you couldn't name 5. I just want that noted for the record.
I probably could have just take a while.
Yeah, that's what I thought. A couple of easy ones there for you. Nexu, Nerf, Sweet
Energy spiders.
Energy Spiders, Bogies, Reeks,
Yeah, I could probably name a couple from that.
Acme.
From the things you've introduced. I like, but the thing I don't like is that you introduce a lot of rare ones, but not a lot of common ones. I don't ever see any banthas on any planet.
We
Sad.
are traveling to exotic locations where there
Kaz!
are uncommon animals.
Kaz needs to get a pet bantha.
Yes, let's get a.
Kaz needs to get a pet. I don't know. What are those little Gizka?
Gizka!
You need a
a
pet
Gizka!
Gizka.
Gizka reproduce like none other.
You get one Gizka. No, I suppose you need two.
You need
get
two
Gizka.
Gizka.
On your starship. Within the day, it is infested.
You get like
they
50.
are everywhere. They're like frogs that are about as big as your head.
Frogs a bit bigger than frogs, or the largest frog you've ever seen.
I need one of those trash smashing monsters.
No, you do not.
What? I don't remember
Use
those.
The Dianaga. You do not need a Dianaga.
What was that from? I can't remember.
A New Hope. It was in the trash compactor. Tried to eat Luke.
Oh, that thing, the little snake thing. Oh, you need one of those. Just keep it in a little like water container
You have
in
an
your room.
aquarium in your quarters, but actually, since you're on a shuttle, you don't have quarters.
We need to buy a new
anymore.
ship. With your cash, we need to buy a new ship.
We have cash left.
He spent all his cash on a bride. You spent all his cash on a bride.
What? No, we only spent like $100 grand. I changed it. Remember? So that means we've still got like 900 grand or something,
You got to be kidding.
or 800 or 700, somewhere in that range.
No,
which
he had
is
5 million, and I think you spent like 3 million of it.
yep,
So he's got like
2
Close to
million
two-
credits.
a little less than that because he's
a little less. He just spent it on armor and weapons and different gear like that. So we're looking still in like the 1,900,000 credits range, which is still enough to buy a really good starship.
Is it? Is it really?
David, really? You're gonna go
Is
there?
it?
Is
No. That's the
Normal
question.
mercenaries can
I
get
don't.
standard starships in a spaceport that are
I'd have
cheap.
to read a little bit, but I'm
Please
imagining
stop
you
sticking
could
a
probably-
lightsaber in your foot.
I don't like sticking your lightsaber in between my cracks, but it happens to
Okay.
be the place that they go.
All
I'll
right.
just clarify. I have a lightsaber here,
I
and
did
he
too.
was sticking the tip of the blade between his toes.
Okay, let's be specific here. This is a physical lightsaber with buttons that glows, and they can be stored on pedestals.
It's a very nice lightsaber.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's more like an antique that you can fight with.
They're specifically designed for dueling.
Yeah, they're
And
designed
we're
for
totally
dueling.
off topic, but
Yeah, okay.
Well, no, we don't need. We can go off topic, dude. This is a Star Wars podcast.
All right then.
Anything Star Wars related, we're fine.
Does anyone have anything related that they want to say?
Yes, lightsabers are the coolest things Star Wars ever had to offer us.
Anything more related to the campaign?
Related to the campaign, banthas. That's all I got to say.
So we have to run into Leia and Banthas in the next session on Tatooine.
No, not Tatooine.
You said Tatooine last time.
I was
Hoth.
just naming
We're gonna
exotic planets.
run into a bunch of banthas
Yes,
on Hoth.
a herd of banthas on Hoth.
You mean Wampas?
And it can't be Princess Leia.
No, banthas.
Banthas on Hoth. That is rare. Let's do this. Rare and exotic, I say.
Your
Hey, here
lightsaber
you
makes
were.
mine look dull when it comes close to it. Did yours like blue and mine's green, and it goes from bright green to kind of a dull gray?
That shattering noise you hear is our lightsabers touching. Our blades are touching.
Okay.
All
And on
internet
that
users.
note, I would like to thank you for listening to episode
No, we're not
2
over.
of the podcast.
We're not over.
It has been wonderful, and I promise next week we will be able to stay on topic and have less discussion about blades touching.
Yes.
No.
Thank you all, and everyone say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.